Now then. Oh, I'll tell you what. Even I'm excited. I'm on the show.
There you go.
Can I tell you? So I'll just wait for this to pop up. There it is. There it is. We got an ad come up, which means only one thing, mother fluffers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You will see by the fact that we've all got shades on that we feel like this could get a little tasty, particularly because the Unipig is back in the mother fluffing house, ladies and gentlemen. There he is, right there. Is it a he? It's got to be a he, hasn't it? Could be.
I don't know, but I'm trying to figure out how to make a shirt with a Unipig and a giant shooting off a giant at hip level rocket launcher, a big red rocket.
Oh, nice shirt, mate. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd work.
Something with the Unipig and a red rocket. Perfect.
It's all about the merch. I don't know whether we got anybody watching yet, but I can tell you this: there's been a lot of. I've been bombarded with messages today. People saying, "Oh, they're getting on here tonight. You're going to get them both on, and it's going to go off." Everybody was excited, you know. So it's on, mate. This is it. There's so much chat, so much talk, and it's not just the last couple of days. I know you guys have been at it last couple of days as well, involving other areas of the arm wrestling community, which we will, of course, get onto. I've just been reliably informed. I've been off social media a little bit because a couple of things that I've got going on, family issues and so on. But outside of that, I do know that it's gone off a little bit today. I've just been told by the lads on here. But I want to introduce them first. If you've been living under a rock, ladies and gentlemen, you won't know these two guys. But if you're one of the hardcore, if you're a subscriber to Supernatural Strength, to Ryan Bowen, to RBJ Arm Wrestling, you will know the guys that are sat in front of me right now. Firstly, from Australia, he is the man down under. This guy is immersed in the sport like nobody else in the oceanic region. It's Ryan Bowen of the Fix.
I noticed that I'm already on top, Rob. Even YouTube's put me on top.
Yeah, they even announced you first, like all contenders. They saved the big words for the champions.
And let's get into that right now, ladies and gentlemen. Our other member of tonight's broadcast is none other than the former WAL champion of the world in the middleweight division, and soon to be, hopefully again, if they return in 2022. It's Rob Vigeant Jr. Rob.
Do they auto strap in that league that you're champion of, or what?
Yeah, I beat everybody in the strap, including the guys you thought you were coaching, while you cried from the sidelines.
There you go. So hang on. So you're cool to pull in the WAL with auto strap, but
no,
King of the
I think
Table,
it's horseshit that guys, if you want to create content, you want to jump right into the strap thing. If you want to create content, why not do the whole arm wrestling spectrum? There's only up to date 3 matches per card. They act like they're time constrained. Why not? Arm wrestling is, let's get a grip. If you can't get a grip, you get a ref's grip and you get fired off. And then if by chance you slip, then you get tied together. Stop trying to skip those points, because when they did the straps right away, all you fucking hardcore guys were sitting on the sidelines counting down 30 seconds, wishing on a prayer, watching the clock. How's that for content?
So you're okay. I got it. So you're just doing
let's just see the whole fundamentals. And I remember a certain little birdie chirped that you were going to grab me in the center of the table and I was going to run from you. I'm just trying to make you good on your promises.
So I get, like I said, I get it. You're actually just trying to help the sport and help King of the Table. You're not at all worried about getting in the strap or anything.
Why would I be worried about going in the strap? But it's
I'm just going off what you said on your live.
And I think the waiting 30 seconds is perfect. I just want to see you pin me the way you said you would. Ryan, you can't make it all about you. It's not all about you. I know you want the moon and the sun to revolve around you. The strap has been an issue for a long time anyways, and I think you're going to realize that it's a very safe place for you, like Linus's blankie. You're going to need it. You brag about your giant wrist, but how come it's always cracked back like this?
I'm the first person to admit that strap rule, that's advantage me. I'm not denying it. It would have been tricky getting the strap.
What makes it advantage you?
Because I don't have to waste energy getting there in the first place. So I get to have that little bit more energy when we get there.
But even still in the straps, what makes it advantage you? As if I haven't beat some of the best guys in the straps.
Exactly. So I was so stunned that you were starting to tell your audience
because you got to work for it, dude.
that you were going to get
gotta
the rules
run.
changed. When you've
gotta
beaten Storm Chelino, you've beaten Craig Touye in the straps, and then all of a sudden, when you're facing me, you're telling them that you're going to get the rules changed.
Because I want you to suffer. I want to see you grab my hand like you said you would and push me straight down on the table like you said you would. I just want to make you good on your word, Ryan.
Did I say that?
You fucking right you did. You said it to Devon.
Oh, well,
you said it on like 5 different shows. You're a lunatic.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Well, you did. You fucking said it. You said you were going to grab me and I was going to be running from your hand. That's all I want to see.
Oh, well.
So Ryan,
I think you'll run from some of my things that I can't imagine you running from my hand.
I've tried to run, but you're a fast motherfucker. You're pulling 9 seconds flat in the 100-yard dash. I can't outrun you to the point where I have to go goodbye to just deal with you.
You should see look on the there.
What do you run in 100?
What do I run in 100? I don't know. I was 5'2" in high school, but I was in the low teens for the hurdles. I was a state champion. So where I'd be at 6'2", but you don't want to hear that I'm 6'2" because you're taller than me. So I must be 5'11".
Did you do better in the 100-meter sprint or the 800 meters?
Sprint. I was 100, 110 high hurdles.
6 rounds is gonna. How's that gonna go for you?
It ain't gonna matter if it's not close. You think I can't get in there and grind?
I'm just curious. I'm just curious as to what type of human you are on the fast twitch, slow twitch. So you're all fast.
I'm a fast twitcher, but I can't sit in a spot for a minute too. I've never been an endurance person as far as marathons, but I don't think that carries over to arm wrestling, to be honest. I'm top end. I wasn't manufactured. I was built this way.
So Ryan, are you thinking that, that Rob is a little out of kilter on what his fast twitch, slow twitch is? I mean, we've seen that before, haven't we? Remember we had the discussion about you being fast, and obviously we know Lachlan's the fastest thing in the world. I myself have had a few issues with that. I consider myself all about, I'm more of a slow twitch guy. If you ask my missus, I'm all about the speed. Mm-hmm. But
I think speed's bullshit anyway. If we're talking about hitting and arm wrestling, I don't really buy into the whole speed thing. I think speed matters if you're very equated with somebody or have a lane that could be very rapidly exposed. You see very fast guys turn very slow when they hit someone stronger than them.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely on that. The best way to stop speed is to have a stronger hand than someone. They won't even move from center. But at the end of the day, speed is still a factor. I mean, it just is. When two guys are within a certain percentage of each other, it's a factor. So, but yeah, I mean, that's not the debate here. There's no. I assume that I'm slightly faster than Rob, not that much faster, but I also assume that I'm more endurance based and less top end based than Rob as well.
Let's just get into this a little bit, guys, because obviously people have started to get into various camps and everybody sees it a certain way and they think it's going to go a certain way. And I'm sure you guys do as well. But one of the sort of popular beliefs around this match is that the strength gap isn't close. That's the guys that are in the Rob camp are saying strength gap's not close, going to get run over. That is what I wanted to find out is, Rob, how far is that gap? Do you think that that's going to be a big gap? Because everybody's saying that you clearly do, but do you really? Because I know in the past, when I've spoken to you one-on-one, I've never actually heard you say that you felt that Ryan wasn't a threat or at least competitive, just that you were stronger.
Yeah, I give Ryan the nod for being the puller he is. And I also, we don't know, what versions of each other is going to show up. But do I believe that I'm far stronger than the credit he would give? And do I think I'm the stronger human being in every way, including the mythical elbow shattering, breaking, sideways, twisting side pressure?
You won't test that. Don't go there. You're not. You won't directly supinate and test your elbow against mine. You just won't. Don't pretend.
Because you don't arm wrestle that way, dummy. If I was in that position, I would throw my shoulder and tricep.
Let's round one. Let's say to
oh my God,
we'll start fully supinated and we'll just go from here. Let's
and just push sideways like a robot, or are we going to come back on our biceps? Are we going to throw our triceps in there?
No. We're just going to lean forward. We're both just going to come forward. Press versus press, supination versus supination. If you won't do that. As if you'll do that. Seriously.
I've done it.
Your elbow would blow apart.
I've done it with dudes stronger than you.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just do that. Let's find out that one. Let's see whose arm breaks round one.
You giant vagina. You want to get away from all the lanes. I dominate really bad. No shit.
You just said right now that your elbow, the mythical
Oh, for
elbow
fuck's
thing,
sake. He asked me a question if I think I'm stronger, and I gave you an answer you don't like. Shut up. The fuck up.
You go back. Tell your story. Tell your story.
I told my fucking story.
So, lads, another myth or another, let's say, common misconception within here is that Rob is one-trick pony. Can't arm wrestle. Ryan, what's your opinion of that? I know that you've talked about not being a
Rob, I see Rob's clear and obvious threats as A, his bicep strength, B, his hand size and subsequent wrist flexion and pronation that comes with it. Rob will fill the gap wherever the gap goes. When he exposes someone's hands, he'll follow and fill the gap and take someone's access to power away. I don't call that a one trick. I call that a dominant lane, and he uses that well. I don't know.
What about if you do put him in the deep water, Ryan? Do you feel like Rob's got a lot of capabilities? Do you feel like he is a well-rounded puller? Or do you feel like he's
by deep water, let's say I've contained his pronation. Let's say we're in the strap and his pronation has been limited or it's been stopped somewhere. I think that Rob has, if it's on his side of the table, he can come forward and press. I've seen that. I don't think he's going to supinate on me, as I just mentioned before. I don't think he's going to try with a supinated hook or anything like that. I think deep water, he'll still have sufficient strength to stop me from pinning him. There'll be, even if his bicep was exposed, I don't see it just being a matter of me being able to pin him then. But I do think that once something of his has been blocked, he's going to have a difficult time digging his way out. That's where it is my game, is if a match is genuinely stopped where one of his components has been limited. If Rob's pronation, bicep and wrist flexions all intact, then I'm in trouble. And if it's that kind of deep water, then I'm surviving purely on side pressure with no hand and wrist, like I was against Raymond Zantanovich, and eventually I got pinned there. I would expect something very similar from Rob. But if I have taken away one of his dominant lanes, and be it his pronation, his wrist flexion, or his access to his bicep, if I've taken away one of those three dominant lanes and the match is stopped, I believe it's to my favor from there.
So you really feel
like you do remember my match with Craig Doulier, how I started every match over rotated up under, and he was hammering down on me about his
and that made sense. You did that because he's a fast and dangerous hooker, so you were voluntarily giving that away, but you didn't.
No, I wasn't. It was how they started us.
You didn't meet him at it. You caught him with bicep, and then you dragged him back.
I didn't give anything away. I started it like this because he's such an insane cheater.
I was in the room. I was a meter and a half away from that match.
I was on the fucking table. No shit.
Know, but you did.
I didn't.
Never once against Craig Doulier did you block with elbow and survive on your connective tissue.
I started like this. This is how they started.
It doesn't matter that you started like that. You still stopped him with your bicep, and then you got control with your hand, and then you pulled him back over.
That's what I'm saying. You're saying if you block my pronation, you're saying if you block my pronation, I'm in trouble.
Between starting like this and actually using this.
I'm talking to a crazy person that's giving their hand away as a choice. I get it. You're saying I'm in deep water from that spot, and that's a man that I believe is faster, more explosive, and more powerful than you to date, at any version of you.
Okay, guys, we're going to knock over a couple of super chats real quick. Well, we give you lads a moment to catch your breath and to refuel. So, SG Records with a super chat. Mate, thanks for that. He's put a beer for Blue, because I know Rob's drinking one already. You sound like you're not being lauded today, mate. What are you on there? It's sparkling water? Yeah. Hey,
good move.
It's taking this very, very seriously, Mr.
People think I need to be lit to string sentences together. I could talk all fucking day.
Well, we know.
I can attest to that. It's Fat Legless Bird with a super chat. Red Rocket Pig t-shirt incoming. Needs a beaten down ginger with pink I below it after king of the table. Rob, obviously in the Vigeant Junior camp, Fat Legless Bird. Juji Mugu with a super chat. Is Blue Bowen trying to hide that with the blue glasses? I mean, we know it's there.
I love that the trolls in the last couple of weeks have just taken to my scar on my eye as their target. Like it's gonna offend me. I got bullied for that thing as a kid that many times. Like Neil said, it bounces off me. Whatever, keep going. Make a t-shirt about it. Something, I'll buy one.
Juji Mugu again with a super chat. Bowen, which of your family members is JFK? JFK. You're gonna need to explain that one. Who that is JFK? JFK?
JFK is a guy that was on my last 2 lives, and he tries to troll hard, and he started taking jabs. He couldn't troll on me because he's not too good with words, and I blew his ass up, and I was calling him JF Karen like he's a moderator. I was calling him Karen, and then he got on last night and started banging on Heather, so I wasn't having it.
I was confused. I had no idea. I was trying to think. I'm thinking John F. Kennedy, and I didn't get the joke, and I'm like, I was missing it. So I'm glad you explained it. I had no idea.
Yeah, I was thinking it must be an arm wrestler, but I was like,
to the people in the crowd, I've had people accuse me of creating bot accounts and comments and all that sort of stuff. I do not have the slightest bit of interest or time to do that sort of stuff. Yeah, that is ridiculous. I would never bother wasting my energy on troll accounts. Just for the record.
Okay, so Owen Guerin, thank you for your super chat, mate. No message in there, but thank you very much for the support of the channel. TH from the Czech Republic, I believe he's put. Yeah, greetings from the Czech Republic. Wish everyone a good health in this mother fluffing COVID time. Ryan, what would be the next step for you if you beat Rob? And then the same question to Rob. Thank you for your super chat.
Yeah, I've said this for a long time that Rob is a huge opportunity for me in terms of being able to establish credibility. But whether contrary to what popular belief is, I respect Rob a lot, immensely for what he's done in the sport. He's someone that's done a bucket load. He's done it for 19, 20 years, and he's achieved a lot at the very high level. So to be able to get a win on Rob elevates my reputation quite a bit. I haven't had that same time and runs on the board nowhere near. So for me, beating Rob is a huge opportunity, and if I was to do it, I would no doubt want to have more opportunities at similar levels. But I just, like I said, I want to put it on the record that I absolutely respect Rob as an arm wrestler for who he is, what he's done, and I don't take this lightly. I don't think that this is anything of a match where it's anything but me taking on someone who's a genuine elite in the sport. So beating Rob would be huge for me. This is the biggest match that I've had by a long shot. And if I were to win this, then I'd be looking for just other matches of similar caliber. I want to broaden my spectrum. I'd love to go to Europe. Most importantly, I want to pull Europeans as well, because I know they have a different style and a different flavor of arm wrestling. But it's all down the track. Got to focus on this first.
And Rob, same question, mate.
Yeah, I don't try to look too far in the future because I've learned that little things can change so much. You know, I remember when I felt like I was in fantastic shape in 2017. I was really eager and confident about going to the WAL finals, and like 3 days or a week before they canceled it. So you do all this planning and preparation, and then you have things like COVID, and you have things like, you know, God forbid the family has health problems and stuff. And I don't like to get too far ahead of myself. I've made the mistakes in the past of being an eager beaver, and shit can change so fast. And I think it's easy to get like sidetracked looking at other things. I just want to get my ass to March, to the plane, get to Dubai safe, have our match, and then if all plays out, however plays out, I'll sort myself out from there. No plans after that. I think what Larry and them are doing sounds like they're really, you know, they've already got 3 that they want to do, 3, 4, 5.
Yep.
So it looks like they're picking up the ball, and instead of like, you know, dropping it, they're trying to run with it. And everyone I've talked to seems to be well on board. So I'd like to see where that goes and whoever else goes. Engen's got his thing going. There's little leagues and tournaments all over the place, so it's exciting.
Tremendous stuff. So Justin Bent, he's obviously in the Ryan camp. He's put, Ryan, just continue to stay humble, bro. Don't worry about Rob. A little bit of support for you there, mate. Matt Tickle My Limits Larratt, thanks for your super chats. But people seem to forget that Rob has been around for a long ass time and has been very dominant for a long time. My guy is a beast. And I know you know about that. You just mentioned it a moment ago, mate. What, for you, Ryan, is Rob's most concerning win to date?
To be honest, though, I think I'm not concerned. I don't look back at any of his wins and let them trouble me at all. I mean, I've seen him do incredibly well against Marcio Barboza and names like that in the Arm Wars series. So, like that, they're very significant moments. I've seen him pull with John and bang right there. I mean, or Matt Musk, whatever. There's no end to the names that he's banged with in the USA in particular. But none of that worries me. Like I said, I've watched Rob pull. I've had the opportunity to be at the match with Craig Touye, WAL, whatever that was, 4 or something like that. Yeah, he's human. He's got attributes. I can see what his lanes are that are dangerous. I mean, I don't take much from the last match from Sasha. He didn't look like he was up for the match, but I do take a lot from the Justin Bishop match. And Justin Bishop is someone that I've pulled and is someone that, interestingly, when I look at all the controversy or the hate online where people say it's a giant mismatch and it's a gap and this, that, and the other. I draw the parallel of Justin. If this was a match between Justin and I don't think those same people would be saying, oh, it's a giant mismatch. I think those people would be saying, oh, I can't wait to see how this one goes. So
hold on. Yeah, but let me jump in there though.
I don't fear anything based on his previous matches is the thing.
Yeah, let me jump in there though. You want to draw parallels that fit your narrative. Kind of like if I look back at your match when you pulled guys like Jordan Davis and got waxed. But you'll say, oh, that's a different version of you. The Justin Bishop that smoked you was about 175 pounds. The dude that I pulled struggled to make 205. It was like cutting weight, and he weighed in at 204.15. Okay? Mm-hmm. That dude that's as lean as Justin, you're talking 30 pounds of shoulder and beef. That guy, you just got smoked by a 175. Don't try to draw parallels on that guy like that's the dude I pulled. It was 30 pounds of beef.
I'm not actually comparing. I'm not comparing my match with Justin to your matches with Justin. I'm saying if I was to have a match with Justin today, the people that say that you're out of this world ahead of me wouldn't say the same about Justin relative to me. They'd be saying, "Oh, I can't wait." I've met Justin. I've pulled him. I've pulled him casually as well. We know each other well. Justin and I are very similar in terms of how strong we are as a human, and that's what I'm drawing. I'm not saying my 2017 match where it was my first ever pro experience. Prior to that, I'd only pulled Australian amateur events. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying that the people who think there's a giant strength gap are kind of clueless and illogical when it comes to comparing runs on the board and so on. People who know where my level's at in terms of people who have pulled me, Chance Shaw, Evan Burgoyne, Dallas Langston, all those guys go, no, Ryan's real. Ryan's absolutely real.
Yeah, it's not saying you're not real, but you got to understand that there's these people are saying these things because they can draw.
Because they lost to me. Yeah, because
but I'm saying
they want me to do well because they lost to me. But like I said, someone like Chance Shaw would absolutely affirm that Justin Bishop and Ryan Bowen are very similar level humans in terms of physicality. They would do that without hesitation. They'd say, yeah, of course they are. I've met them both. I've pulled them both. They're very similar in terms of physicality. I don't look good on camera. I've got a dad bod. I look average. I look even skinny on camera. Every time I've ever met someone in the USA, for the first time, they say,
I was with you up to that point.
You're bigger than you appeared. What was that, Neil? I missed you, Joe.
I was with you up to that point, mate, when you went, I don't look good on camera. I've got a dad bod. And then you ruined it. I was right.
Well, even Neil, you've said this to me. Like, I remember turning up to WAL 504 and seeing you at the hotel, and you said, "Holy shit, you are bigger than I thought you were," and it doesn't look it on camera. I don't know. So just don't be deceived.
I think it was the height, Ryan. I only had you down as 6'1", not 6'1.5", and that was it. And right then, I was resonating. You were like, you're like, oh, I've got a dad bod. Don't look good on camera. I'm like, yep, check, same. And then you're like, I actually even look skinny on camera. I'm like, wanker. Don't have that. No part of me.
No,
looks
I've got
to be on
that
camera.
skinny fat look. Always have. I can't get rid of it no matter what.
Oh, mate, you're making me feel sorry for you now. You got a woman that loves you. You just got married. You still got it, son. And God knows what she was doing off camera the other day on the fix, but you obviously appreciated that. So we'll knock over a couple of super chats before I lose them. Serginho, mate, thank you so much for your super chat. Appreciate the support there, and I do agree with you. Thank you, mate. Phil Woody, UK. Hope this inspires RVJ to fulfill his full potential. And we're going to come back to that in just a moment. JGB23, thanks, mate. I will enjoy it. I will enjoy it. Achilles, you have a better chance of catching a Joey than catching a Joey. It's gone all Aussie on our arse here, baby kangaroo, for those people in the chat. Than beating my boy RVJ. What happens if you're just a legend in your own mind? You must have been watching the series. Serginho again. Circumstances. They will bury the hatchet between them here and now, and I'd be happy to have a pint after the show. These two women. Let's have a look here. Serginho, he's flying, this guy. He's not... Mate, you're killing it here. Seem hellbent on carrying on this rigmarole indefinitely for the sake of manufactured bravado. Mic drop. You know what, mate? In this instance, there's nothing manufactured. I think these guys are genuinely serious. Chris Gamo. Both guys are progressing the sport, no doubt. So hats off to both. But I think Rob is too much for Ryan to handle. Either way, we're all tuning in to watch the match unfold, even if Ryan is a big underdog. Stay strong, guys. Thank you, Chris. Much appreciated, mate. We got Kirsten Prodigy, who's got a match coming up very, very soon with Bodjanar Simeonov. Kirsten's a beast. Watch out for that also. Both coming from a loss. One of them will have 2 losses in a row. I'm with Ryan's side. Ryan, you better win because you'll get 3 losses. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm piecing that one together quite quickly. Joe Cagle.
Just for the record as well, we've got 750 people here watching, and I'm sure a few of them think my last super match was a loss to Marcus Atirai. All right, just for the record, that is called a training super match. If you go back, have a look at rounds 1 and 2, flash pin. Then I say to myself, all right, this is a training super match. Let's work as hard as we can. I'm going to hold on to this dude outside of straps and try to pin him in the most difficult lane possible. So we have a balanced training session. All right. And so I go into the hook. I try to hold on to this giant and I give it my red line. I could have slipped at any point and just gone to the straps and made it over with a top roll. So stop counting training practices where I literally try to take the most impossible route as a loss. If there's $100 on the line or $500 on the line, it'll be 3 flash pins against Marcus Atirai, just for the record.
There you go. And he is one of the Brisbane 8.
He is. He's a big mother.
He is
Absolutely.
a big lad. No doubt about that. So Joel Cagle with the super chat. Who's a good match for James Smith comeback tour? Mate, we're going to keep it on the guys that we got on the call tonight out of respect for them. James is really strong. I'm sure he'll get something solid down the tracks. Jujimugu, God bless Larry Wheels and Engin. Thank you, mate. Both doing great stuff there. They really are. Now, I wanted to turn this over again. Oh, we'll just knock over these two. Jujimugu, what's next for Bowen if he wins and if he loses? And this is going to come as part of what we're about to discuss. And the White Wolf is in the chat. Where does Rob want to bury the hatchet? I like your work. Now then, we got another big match coming up soon. We're not going to deviate, but we got another big match with a lot of status potential there. Okay, for another man from Australia who you just recently arm wrestled, but he's pulling against Todzilla. Do you think the match that you're going into in King of the Table is of a similar level of significance? Do you see this as big?
This match with Todd and Lachlan is a very significant match for the purpose of perspective on our match, for sure. Devon Larratt rang me the other day, and he said, just for the record, we're not going to release the arm bets stakes until after the match between these guys, because that's going to provide a lot of indication as to the outcome between Rob and I. What happens between Lachlan and Todd will guide that situation. So it's relevant on multiple levels. It's relevant for Lachlan, it's relevant for all of Australia, and it's relevant for this match here. So I'm watching closely. We're all watching closely because it's going to mean a lot. It's going to give a lot of clues as to what will happen between Rob and I for sure. But in terms of significance, I think equally as significant for sure.
How can you extrapolate information between what happens with Lachlan and Todd? And
okay, well, look, I'll do it in your favor. If Todd Hutchins belts Lachlan, then everyone's going to bet their house on you. Everyone's going to say, just bet their house right now on Rob Vigeant. If Todd just crushes Lachlan, like he's not there, they're going to say, what's the point of this match? They'll probably, Core Sports will probably call us and cancel it. Because
that's silly because Lachlan might be more prone to falling into a sweet spot for Todd. You know, but it won't. I can't really extract as much from it.
Okay, fair enough. You don't have to. I will. But if Lachlan, let's say if Lachlan decisively beats Todd, then everyone goes, "Oh shit! Okay, this match with Ryan and Rob, all of a sudden, it's viewed very differently. It's viewed the balance levels are viewed very differently."
What about for you, Ryan?
Always say again.
What about for you, though, mate? What I was getting at is in your mind. I mean, you obviously everybody knows the reputation that Todd has. He's massively respected. This would be seismic if Lachlan comes in there and does something with him. Is this a similar level of significance in your mind for you? If you came in
personally, this is my most significant
what have you beaten,
match.
Ryan? Have you beaten the best middleweight in North America in your mind? Or do you
no,
think
I haven't. I mean,
you haven't beaten that.
This is the most significant match I've had in my arm wrestling career to date, without a doubt. I consider myself my best weight is middleweight. That's just where it is. I can push and get up into heavies, but for competitiveness on an international level, middleweight is where my best chances are. So this is something that's been in my targets since I got involved with the WAL. I wanted to end up getting to that hammer. COVID killed that, but this King of the Tables brought it around. So very, very, very significant for me. I've always been trying to champion the sport out of Australia, and I've always said to the Aussies here that, look, we're at the level, we're good enough to get to that level, and so this is a huge match for me to be able to show that can be done. I started this sport 9 years ago, and I said, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make a crack at being a genuine world elite puller. I want to be a world champion someday. So I don't consider myself a world champion if I win this match, but I consider myself having taken a step toward it a lot more significantly.
Interesting. What do you believe are the biggest similarities between you and Rob? Because I see a lot of major differences, mate. Because for me, you're sort of opposite.
I've never thought about this one.
Yeah, exactly. Let me go down a route with you, though. For me, you're sort of like polar opposites in terms of and don't take this the wrong way, Ryan. It's a little bit nature versus nurture is where I'm going with this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew you when you first came into the sport. You're obviously a little lighter at that time. You'd been in the sport. You hadn't taken weight training seriously. I think you'd come from tennis or something like that. But you hadn't taken training very seriously. You were just coming across into the sport. But you were obviously massively focused on getting where you were going. And you have trained extremely diligently over a long period of time and become full-time professional in the sport. Mm-hmm. Rob, on the other hand, my experience of Rob has been he was the guy that was God-given gift for the sport of arm wrestling. Rolled up at his first tournament against high-level guys and straight away was in the mix, could do very, very significant things early doors in his career. Was already right on the barometer, early doors. So you're sort of like complete opposite. Mm-hmm. Are there any similarities? Do you see anything of yourself in Rob?
I think our kids are a similar age. That's about it. I don't know. I'm genuinely. I'm not being facetious or anything. I can't. On the arm wrestling side, we're very different people. We're very different approaches, as you've said. I don't know.
Stylistically, you don't see any similarities. Nothing at all.
There's similarities in style. I mean, Rob's dominant lanes. I would choose those lanes for a lot of my opponents to exploit myself. I would be that hand controlled top roll guy as well. But against Rob, I'm not going to be that, not by a stretch. So I guess you can say we have similarities in that I would choose a similar shape to win on other matches.
You know what I see, Rob? And Ryan,
Tell me.
you know what I see? You're both appalling early in matches.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Okay.
You
Yeah.
both start badly. You usually let the other guy initiate. If you look at your track record, a lot of the time, you'll have, if you're going to get beat in a match, it'll be the first round. It'll be that first round where you're trying to feel someone out, or allow them to initiate. And that interests me a little bit, because a lot of the time with arm wrestling matches, let's say Devon and John, we make a lot of assessments when you're going to be commentating the match or something like that. You make a lot of assessments based on that first, okay, we're going to get all these messages, all this information off that first start. One of the things that's quite fascinating about this match with you two, I don't think that's the case, because you're both well known to not be necessarily at your best early in the match. And that's one of the things that I see really similar in you. You know, I've often seen you get cracked in that first round. Seen it with you a lot, Rob. Seen it with you a lot, Ryan. And it's really interesting how that develops, because I'm wondering whether there's going to be any kind of mental expectation in your mind. And that was going to be my next question for Rob, really. Who do you see initiating here? Who do you think's the guy that comes out of the blocks first in round one?
I mean, history has said that it will probably be Ryan, and I'll be a little bit on the defensive or in my head. That's what history is. But in the next months, I've recognized that as something I got to work on in my own headspace and on myself, and that I could take my game to a whole different level if I got a little more on the initiative and aggressive side. So that's just something I think comes with time paid and training and being confident in where you stand. You know, you take some of the matches that I've gone into and I didn't feel prepared. That can be kind of an insecurity, and you start second guessing yourself. And then when it comes time to act instinctively, you're trying to act with thought, which is delayed. And then by the time you figure out what to do, you're already too deep. And so history would say Ryan will initiate, but that could be something on my goal board to be a more aggressive person, because I'm very good when I pull instinctively and aggressively.
I know one really clear example of that took place in Arm Wars, mate, when you were pulling against Marcio. And that was the clearest example I think I've ever seen of it, to be perfectly honest, where you were on the receiving end for so long. You really were struggling badly. And then for whatever reason, something clicked in place with you, and you came back and you looked like an absolute monster. For the back three, you looked incredible. And what many times we were on the fix the other day, and many times I've said that if you can tap into that guy that you've got inside you, then you're very, very difficult to beat. I think one of the biggest weapons that Ryan potentially has coming into this, I think he's pretty flatline consistent in terms of where his level is. I don't think his level deviates from anything mental. I think his top out is just, in fact, it might be the other way. He probably overestimates himself on occasion. I know there's people in the chat that would believe that for sure. We will see, won't we? But
I'm probably one of the most extreme circumstances of the mental high and low of how I pull when I hit rage mode. I mean, when I go to that blackout rage mode, I don't usually lose a match from there on.
Do you feel like if the best version of you can show up, do you feel like your level is too high? Where's Ryan's biggest weapon? Is it physical or is it mental? In your mind?
I'd say Ryan's biggest weapon is being a professional arm wrestler. He's like those people that you see in did you ever watch the Hunger Games?
Yeah.
When they have the guys that they from like section 1 and section 2, they're called careers. They basically train their whole life. So every single person from section 1 and 2 is a trained killer. Now, it doesn't mean they're guaranteed to win the Hunger Games, but they're certified to be a trained killer. And I think Ryan is well-versed on the table. And with the hours spent, he's going to be comfortable with how it falls. And I've noticed that in my own trainings when I've stepped away from a table and I feel really strong, but then I go back to an arm wrestling practice, I just feel wonky. I feel like, where do I want my feet? Where do I want my shoulders? There's something about familiarity with that table. And I think him being comfortable with grabbing so many guys every day, day in, day out, you're not going to really put him in a very uncomfortable place unless you dominate him. And that's what I'm coming to try to do, because I'm not too afraid of the match stopping either, but I think he's going to be comfortable the whole way unless he's really manhandled. And I've always said, if the best version of me shows up, and it doesn't have to be a Ryan thing, it could be anybody. It could be Stasho. If I'm having my best day of my life and they're having the best day of their life, I win. And I just feel that way with anybody.
So I think
I wanted to expand on a moment ago. You were talking about us losing early. In respect to me losing early, that is actually a very true thing. But it's an indicator of is that I'm able to win matches when I'm not the strongest person in the room. Round one, like to me, it's one of the most beautiful things about the sport is that the weaker man can and does win if they execute well. And a lot of the matches that I did lose the first round, it was because of the physicality component. But when I feel someone in round one, I think I'm good at adapting, feeling where their lane was and feeling where also their lane isn't. And I've really modeled myself on being an arm wrestler that can go to all positions and with equal threat. I don't have an ace as much as a lot of other people do. I have a well-rounded game, and I'll feel round one, and often I'll come in with round one with my best guess as to where they're going to go, and I won't ever deliberately lose it. But often my best guess, if I've never touched that person's hand before, turns out to be slightly off. But once I feel it, I go, oh, okay, here's where their vulnerability is. It's not over there where I thought it was. And then I just change. I go there. So that's why I think I lose a lot of rounds. It's never mental for me. I'm in tune, ready, round one. So in terms of who moves first, in terms of will I be up for it? Will I feel the pressure? I don't expect my performance in round one to be any less than it is in round 2 through to 6, but it may be not the ideal lane. And by rounds 2 and 3 and 4, my accuracy as to finding the correct lane will improve. So that's why I lose first rounds. It's very different to why Rob loses first rounds. And I agree with what Rob said. Yeah, sure. He's big and up and down mentally. Makes me ask the question about pressure in this match. Who's the pressure on? I know it's not on me. I mean, the delusional crew will try to put
I don't know, man. You've got to be taking some of that pressure, brother.
This is me swinging for the fences. If you think you can find it in a place where I'm nervous, it's going to fail. If anyone is going to be nervous in this situation, it's going to be Rob, because he's being told by the arm wrestling world, he's being told by the elites of the world, he's been told by the internet fans of the world that he's going to crush me, that the gap is so big that he shouldn't even bother. And you can try to avoid the pressure, Rob, but you're going to feel it.
But you got to take a little bit of it. I mean, you've only made about 300 videos dissecting my game and all the lanes I don't have and all the things I can't do and why you can pick the hammer and win. I mean, at some point in time, you're going to have to deliver on all this, and people are going to hold you accountable. It's 2 years of saying, I will beat your ass. It's 2 years of that. So if you
we talked about at the start of the show,
2 years worth of leftovers. You've got to fucking
deliver on elbow. And I love that. Everyone, I'm reading the chats here. People think me and Rob are being nice to each other and calm down. Go back to the start of the show and have a look. But we'll bring it up again. I will deliver on elbow with spades, Rob. And I dare you seriously to match me. You said that your elbow is going to be more.
You're trying to dissect one piece of your body and go, I'll deliver on elbow. You know why? You know why my biceps big and strong? Because I pull with it, dum-dum. I don't sit
you pull in muscular lanes. Again, to me, you show how you don't understand this sport. You are great at this sport. You execute well, but you are someone who you actually don't understand the biomechanics of the sport.
No, I don't. I just get by on being awesome and wearing
you don't even understand how connective tissue plays a factor. I mean, you seriously, you talked to me before about your match against Craig Touye saying that you supinated and that you used your side pressure. No, you didn't. You won't do it. You will not supinate and stay supinated against me and just come forward at me like that, because
I don't have to. If my bicep can drag you open, why would I do that? The whole point of leverage in moves is to take things away from the person so it's easier. But I promise you, you don't win a match by just going straight back or just bicepping. At some point in time, no matter how much you take from a person, you do have to side pressure and push down. And you will not have
your side pressure, Rob. Your
and you will
side
not
pressure,
be a
Rob,
good arm wrestler if you've got a really
is
weak elbow.
protected. Your side pressure is protected by dominant hand, dominant rotation, and
just because I don't pull like a
safety in your
dummy
back
doesn't
pressure.
mean it's not there.
I
You're just
would
trying to
bet
find a
that you
lane
feel
that you're
very little
valid.
pain in here. At the end of an arm wrestle, you would very little flare up in here because you dominate in the fundamentals. You dominate in the muscular side of the sport. I have never seen you, from memory, I could be wrong, there might be a matchup there somewhere,
I've
but
carved
I've
it and
never
chopped
seen you
infinite
use
people.
your connective tissue integrity to save a match before. I've seen you use your muscles, your lanes like this, your inside the safety net of your strength, and you're never actually having to expose purely your connective tissue to survive in a match. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's silly, Ryan. While you were still
generally
jumping
the
around,
stronger human.
you were still
So when you are the
around on a
stronger
tennis
human,
court
you stay
with
in
your
the
tube
muscular
socks
lane.
and your high shorts. I was winning arm wrestling matches you might not have seen. Trust me, I've used my connective tissue, but the fact that I haven't had to use it might speak volumes about how strong I just might be. If nobody's putting
Exactly, and that's the thing.
defensive,
I feel like we're starting to get somewhere. We're starting to
because
highlight
you keep
something
going
here.
on this stupid
You haven't
fucking
had to
elbow,
use your
dude.
connective
You keep
tissue.
going on this
That's the
stupid,
thing. You
this
haven't
fucking
had
thing.
to.
What
So
a
if you
what a
were,
weird concept you're preaching here, brother. How's this?
So
Proof's in the pudding. I'm a fundamental puller. What's my record? You go and you do your side chippy chop top shit. How are you working out?
I'm going all
Just
right.
saying.
I'm here with a match with you.
You get a new coach every other week.
People ask me who I've beaten
new
before.
philosophies, and then you go to a tournament with new philosophies. You're going to be the new dude in the whole planet, and then you get smoked, and then you go and get a new coach. I mean, come on, man. Don't sit there and say, I don't understand the sport. You're trying to find something to make it work, to make up for your inadequacies.
So when we're talking about connective tissue, let's fine in on this a little bit, because obviously we talked earlier on about the fact that you understand the sport well, Ryan, and obviously Rob himself has said that you may be a better or more educated arm wrestler in some respects.
I would never concede to that he's a more educated arm wrestler. Look what he just said. This is a guy who said if you give up your hand, it's a choice and a gift.
Well, let's just go there.
How am I going to say that?
Yeah, if you can't understand that concept, you're already making the concession that you're an inferior understanding of the sport.
Yeah.
Well, I watched Giannis Amelins explain to you after the Sasho match that he was
just add that to
containing your
list of things
pronation,
to be
and he was
ashamed
limiting
of
your
if I beat
pronation.
you.
And you had this look on your face like you were a kindergarten student, like you were hearing something for the first time. You had no idea what Giannis was talking about. So you couldn't comprehend that, and it was this light bulb moment for you.
Giannis pulls totally different than I do. There is no cut and dry on how to top roll. I saw Giannis do that shit with fucking Dustin Bishop and get flag-handed right to the pad. So don't sit there and act like because somebody says something cosmic that works with them with 99% of the people, that it should be the cut and dry for everybody. That's stupid.
Do you want me to explain giving your hand away?
Actually, no, I really don't. Because I've stayed up at night trying to think about Michael.
Do you need to understand that giving something up in place of your hand, that giving away your arm or giving away your rotation?
I've never seen you do it and win. So why don't you test the new theory like being stronger?
Do you want me to explain?
Would you seriously do that though, Ryan, in this scenario?
Yeah, he did it and lost. No shit. That's what you call the B-side train.
Would you give away your hand to Rob in this match? So in other words, are you so confident in your structure,
he get his arm broken,
integrity, that you would sacrifice your hand, sit into that?
No, I'm not going to be defending. I'm not the slow mover here. Like, if we're talking about giving up your hand and all that sort of stuff in a defensive sense, you're talking about someone like Danny Tesh. He would do that. Danny Tesh would allow that hand. He would give the rotation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Danny was a super slow moving puller. I'm not that puller. I'm not going to give up my hand against Rob, but he won't be where I would give up my hand against Rob. Let's say I put on a side pressure hit. Let's say Rob stops me, and let's say Rob starts to reverse it. I've got a choice. Let's say I'm here and all I've done is move him to there. As Rob starts to drive back, I have two choices. And one of them is to stay with my shoulder and allow my hand to be the thing that is defeated. That's me giving you my hand, Rob, because I had another choice. Keep my hand and open my arm to defend over here using my bicep. I get to choose between those two. You don't get to choose.
No, it's definitely not taken.
I get to choose. Okay, that is the
choice, though, with a
concept
man
of
who's
giving
much
your hand
stronger than
away is a choice. Okay,
Right.
Even though you take it off me, yes, you physically take it off me. The only
So it's
reason that's
taken.
happening is because I'm staying with my shoulder commitment. I'm staying with my side pressure. I could have happily chosen keep my hand, retract, and
Got
defend
pinned.
with my arm over here. Okay, that's a choice role.
Both scenarios are you're
basic
losing. You
level
realize
choice.
that, right? That's a shitty example. Both scenarios are you're losing.
That's an example that may happen between you and I. I may hit over here. You may start to reverse. And at that moment, I will choose between those two. I don't know which one I'm going to choose yet, but I'm going to be.
Give me your hand.
I'm going to be more adaptive to it than you are. That's for sure.
See that as a winning lane, Ryan. So
Which
you
one?
would feel that your structural integrity is so strong that you would sacrifice your hand to Rob, who is
that is something that purely depends on how the match feels, Neil. As you know, Neil, I know you're a very intuitive. You're alive on the table. When I see you pull, you feel things. Okay, if I'm in here and the side pressure's up, if my limit on his pronation, let's say if his pronation feels like an absolute boss, then I would give away my arm because there'd be too much. My hand would get over rotated if I gave it away. That'd be no good. But if I'm at the limit of, if I can feel the limit of his pronation and it's like it's just there, then I can give my hand away as he opens me up and know that over here there will be a stop with my fingers when combined with side pressure. So it depends on what it feels like. There is no move or step that I will just put in place irrespective of what he delivers. I will feel the match and I will respond accordingly. And that is where the technical components of the match comes in. It's where I talk about dancing on the table. It's where I talk about feeling and moving in a fluid and passive manner. At high effort, you can still be passive and lead that feel. And if you are ahead of the curve in that reaction ability, you are winning the efficiency of the match. And that is where I'm absolutely 1,000,000% certain that I can do that from Rob. Rob, you said it before, I spend more time on the table than Rob by probably 50 times. If we counted hours on the table
that doesn't make you a better arm wrestler technically either.
Well, the fact that you needed to be explained that concept right there.
And I still, you know what? I think I have a pretty good understanding. And what you're saying is fucking bananas. But that's okay. That's you. You speak monkey talk. I don't speak monkey talk. That's bananas.
I was just trying to get to understand if I was going to make that kind of choice, which I do identify with 100%. I'd never do that particular choice against a man that I didn't feel I was stronger than. I'd have to feel like I was significantly stronger and also against a guy who is way, way better when he's got hand control. I've said to Rob many times that he believes his arm is probably his biggest strength. I actually don't.
I didn't say that. I said it gets overlooked because of the size of my hand. But how many people?
We've had a few discussions on that, Rob, where we've disagreed slightly on it. I think your ace is your hand and wrist.
Yeah, that's a case. But when we look at guys that I've beaten in a hook, I can't be looked at as a non-hooker either. I'm not saying
you got a bum arm, mate. Your arm's strong. But I think if you were to look at where your absolute lane is, I think your hand and wrist are absolutely rock strong. Really, really ridiculous. Where your arm is competitive with the top guys in the world, but not the top in the world. I think that's just my opinion. Now, for somebody to sacrifice their hand to you, if they didn't feel like their arm is the stronger arm, is fascinating.
My arm's not stronger, Neil, but my elbow connective tissue is more resilient. That's just.
How can you say that if I've arm wrestled for 2 decades? By nature, pushing sideways with guys is going to strengthen that. You're crazy. You can't arm wrestle by going only back and only muscles. You have to at some point in time put something on.
I'll offer it to you right now. I'll arm wrestle you outside of the straps. I'll start it. You won't have to get the rules changed. Right now, you agree to start supinated and stay supinated against me round 1 and just come forward. Both of us come forward, out of straps. We'll see whose elbow holds up.
I'll do that with you after I get my first wins and I secure it. I did it with Steve Green too.
What are you scared to do? You just told me you'd back it. I just offered you what you needed. Last night on your live,
you don't need to offer me things that are going to take
so it doesn't
away.
go into straps. I offer that to you, saying, "Look, I'll start. Let's go fully supinated. Let's come forward at each other. Let's stay supinated and see what happens. See whose elbow is more resilient. Let's find out. Don't wait till we're gassed. Do it when we're both fresh. Round one.
That's silly.
Round
That's
one.
silly. Like all you guys that got weak hands and wrists, you want to start in hooks early. You want to take away at hooks. Say that's man pulling. No, it's not. It's pussy pulling. Because if you had a stronger hand and wrist, you wouldn't be losing your hand and wrist.
You can't sit there and say you back yourself in something and then immediately say, "Hey, I don't want to do it."
Ryan, I backed myself in an arm wrestling match. Was exactly what this is. It's like if Mike Tyson's going to fight Muhammad Ali, and Mike Tyson says, "Let me sit there and just tee off on you and get inside." You know what Muhammad Ali's going to say?
Yeah, but
eat a bunch
Muhammad
of dabs
Ali
on the way
didn't
in,
say to Tyson 30 seconds earlier that he could beat him inside. You just did. You just
I believe I can, but I'm not going to sit here and
you said
cater
your
a
20
match.
years of arm wrestling has made
You're
your
going to be lucky
elbow
if you get out of this
connective
match
tissue
with a
better than
pimp
mine.
slap.
Pick one, Rob. Pick one or the other.
Because you keep talking about your conditioned fucking elbow. It's the dumbest thing I've heard. Every arm wrestler's got a conditioned elbow. I'm sorry to tell you, you're not special.
There are very, again, you're
just
just highlighting your lack of understanding of the biomechanics of this sport.
Yeah, I know. I'm a fucking dummy.
You tell me everyone has the same level of conditioning on their elbow? Cool.
I would say it's a pretty good conditioning. Yeah. I've never seen you get up and throw a shoulder press on there either.
Just out of interest,
I'm offering it to you right now. I'm offering it to you right now, Rob. If you're brave enough to take it.
Just go away with your bullshit. Like I said, I don't got time for monkey talk.
Have you had a lot of success?
Just so you know, I've got 3 minutes left before I got to go. I know this has been going forever, but I got to leave it. I got to leave at 8, man. I'm sorry.
Ryan, have you had a lot of success before with more powerful lads using your structure? Is that something that you feel confident with because you've had wins?
It's evolved, man. The last 12 months that has become. If I had to pick an ace,
that's what GH will do, motherfucker.
Since training commenced under Todd Hutchins, I really did value side pressure and elbow connective tissue a lot, and so I put a lot of emphasis into that. And the evolution of how I feel with my training crew in Brisbane, it's become this point where I can sit there now on people that I just couldn't ever do that before. Now it's super
because you were weak, and now you're only semi-weak.
People like Marcus Atirai, 160 kilos, and I can outdo his elbow very comfortably. And it's like, oh man. And I mean, yeah, I haven't had the opportunity in competition outside of what I went there with Raymond Zantanovich. He beat me. He twisted my hand over enough. His hand control was enough, but my elbow was fine against Raymond Zantanovich and Zloty to withstand that.
Yeah, it looked great.
Evan Burgoyne. Good match. I beat Evan Burgoyne supinated in the final round of our super match. I offered him the hook. He said, "Yeah, let's go." We just stayed supinated, and I drove through center and took it from him. So it's been done in the past by me, but it's now developed to the point where I truly do feel if I had to pick an ace, that is my ace for me.
Tremendous. Let's just knock over these super chats before Ryan's got to leave us. Carolyn Loons with a super chat. Love a ginger for Christmas fund. My New Year's resolution. Let's go, Brandon Filthy Power. Thank you, Carolyn. Much appreciated. And remember, guys, I've been putting in the chat. If you like what you see tonight, if you want to see this match, who doesn't want to see this match? If you want to see amazing matches throughout 2022, King of the Table, I've been putting the links in the chat all night. I'm going to do it again in a moment. Get yourself over, sign up, show these guys some love. Larry and Adam Silver, Don, the guys at Core Sports doing amazing stuff. 2022 is loaded with arm wrestling matches. Some incredible stuff coming your way. I'm going to put the link in there again. It'll also be in the description. Get over, sign up. I think for around $20 odd, you can get the entire season for a limited period of time. That has got to make sense. Get yourself over there. Get yourself signed up. Incredible matches with pure intensity. You've seen it tonight and more to come. Get over there. Get yourself signed up. As I say, I'll put the link in there in a moment and it will be in the description. So Achilles with a super chat. Ryan, who have you ever beaten? RVJ has everything to lose. You'll get smoked just like your hero John did. 4-0.
Who have I ever beaten? I won 11 super matches in a row prior to losing to Lachlan. So you go look it up.
What? What, 11? You counting those little kids you pimp slap at the fairs, left-handed and stuff, super matches?
11 right-handed super matches. You go look them up too, Rob. You probably need to do the research, so you go look them up.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do in my free time. While I'm trying to figure out your theories in quantum physics, I'm going to look up your history.
That's all right. Okay, don't look them up. You just go cry to Core Sports about needing to change the rules, which I remember you were quite critical of John Brzenk about, alluding to him wanting to change the rules. You were
what, in the middle of a match when he grabbed the dude's hand and wrenched on it and tried to get him to move his elbow? That was fine. That's cool.
The rules change. So
no. Let's not play the narrative here.
Don't worry
It's
about
not
doing
even
your
the
research
same.
on me.
It's not even the same. We're 3 months out on a rule that I think is like deteriorating the goddamn sport, not you and me. It's the rule 3 months out. Don was grabbing dude's hands in the match. Yeah, that's totally different sports, buddy. So you throw John in there as a way to try to get that, that support. Yeah, I did rag on him.
I'm just reminding you of how critical you were of John and his requests or his
to move his elbow? Yeah, I never heard
of the fact that he thinks the auto strap rule was dumb. You're pretty critical of him against that, given the league, and then here you are a few weeks later saying,
I've always said,
I need to get the rules changed for the exact.
I've always said the straps are a problem, and I've said going to the straps automatically is a bigger problem. It's not arm wrestling. It's not fundamental. It's not arm wrestling. How do motherfuckers arm wrestle without a strap?
Like I said, you're the champion of the WAL that has the exact same rule, and yet King of the Table has it again for obviously the same reasons WAL has it, and all of a sudden
WAL started it for time compression. Okay.
Yeah.
They did for time compression. Now, when you're not in a tournament with hundreds of matches, you've got 5 matches on the card. It's not time compression. Getting data. And I'll tell you what, a lot of matches do end up being decided out of the straps. I did a whole career of people trying to get away from me. Believe me, matches do get finishes and you do get data out of the straps.
I agree. You're a dangerous man out of straps. I'm very pleased that the league we're pulling in is straight to strap. That's an advantage to me. And too bad you signed. I'll see you in the strap. That's just the way it is. Should have brought this up before you signed.
So let's knock over the rest of these chats. Engin's fake taxi account. Not impressed with one of Ryan's previous videos, which he felt was a bit of a disgrace. Yeah, you'll have to send that over to Ryan. Going to keep it respectful to the lads on here tonight. But he's a big fan of Rob Vigeant. Thanks, Engin's fake taxi account, for that. Appreciate your super chat very much, mate. Coop Herbert, RVJ, can we expect a big wet kiss at the press conference?
Nah, man, I'm not doing none of that face-to-face, real pushy, shovey shit. I've already made my position clear on that. I don't play those games. I'm not getting face-to-face. I'm not playing tough. I'm not getting within arm's reach of Buddy Boy.
Lyle Johnson, thank you very much, mate. Ryan and RVJ, stakes are up. First ever blowout stake. Ryan has to win 2 rounds before Rob can win 4 to win the stake. Rob has to win either 4-1 or 4-0 to win the stake. Thanks, Lyle. Much appreciate your super chat, mate.
There you go.
Devil Raper. Neil, would love to hear RVJ's thoughts on Ryan's Zloty Tour run and what he thinks of it. And would he perform better himself on that tournament?
Neil, I really got to go, man. I'm sorry,
brother.
I got to go.
Ryan, before you jump off, mate, I want to say thank you very much for giving your time. I'll take over the show. Right, Rob, I think staying on with us for a couple of minutes. Ryan, thank you very much, mate. I'm sure we'll do it again. And have a good day. Cheers, brother. Okay.
So to answer that question, what did I think about his outing? Well, I think it spoke for itself. We saw that same level of confidence in his interviews that this guy wasn't that big and he felt he was going to win the whole tournament. And the truth is he lost to 2 guys that are well situated in the Masters class. Do I think I would have done better? Absolutely. I think trained it in shape. That's a tournament I'm very capable of winning. I think I'm a threat in that tournament getting off the couch. Winning, there's some good guys over there, and you can catch some bad rounds, and you can get tied up. And if you're not conditioning and how you tiptoe through the rounds, play it. I'm a threat to any one of those guys, even off the couch. If I'm trained, I think I can win it. Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll move on and knock a few more of these.
I mean, we saw the structure. We saw the structure be put to the test. Palm up. Pile them up, push
it's interesting
sideways.
to me, and I'll pick that up with Ryan when we're next on the fix as well. It's interesting to me that where there would be a situation where you choose to sacrifice your hand against someone who it's their A game. That was the only bit that really struck me as odd there. But
Well, you know how I equate it, right?
He's not going to do that.
He's got a lane that he thinks he conditioned somewhere. By arm wrestling, you're going to have connected elbows. I am a pusher and presser when I get in the lane, and I got a very strong tricep press. And you're not going to not have conditioning through your elbow by doing that. He's like the boxer who thinks he's got a good chin, and instead of ducking, weaving, and throwing jabs, he says, okay, you punch me and I'll punch you, and we'll see who goes down first. That's not the evolution of the sport. He wants me to start like this, palming and chop in. I can play that game, but I don't want to. I want to make him suffer. I want to make him try to find his place. I want to make him feel like he's out of his element. I don't want to put him in an element, whether he's good there or not. Do I think he can beat me in a hook? No, I don't. I think he can beat me in what he's talking about? No, I don't. But I want him to crumble. He's like, the way he overestimates his arm wrestling game, he just way overestimated his level of some deep, weird cosmic understanding.
Has he done anything that does impress you, mate? Are there any wins out there under his belt that you thought to yourself, that's really impressive? Or what would you say is his most impressive win to date?
Well, I think his win against Chance Shaw was impressive, but that was also, we didn't have any data on Chance Shaw. We didn't have anything. We didn't have any real data on Chance, where Chance coming out of Florida was fluffed up as being possibly, maybe he was overestimated on where he really was. All I know is the position that match stopped in, I would never lose. I mean, you're stopping with your wrist cracked on the defensive side. I would never lose that match. So, yeah, I mean, he's done some things on a level that if you just say, like, yeah, he's coming along good. But if he's going to be, you know, a dick and poke the bear and poke at me, I'll say, like I've been saying, like, yeah, I said you were doing good. You're coming along and all right. But if you're going to be, you know, antagonist, I'll then say, well, guess what? When I said you're doing all right, I mean, you're doing all right for your level. Like, fuck off.
Okay. Devon's Classy Finger, thanks for your super chat, mate. We're okay, brother. I hope you're enjoying the show. And thanks for that super chat. Juji Mugu, is Bowen still training with the quadratic spring? He is. We were speaking about that before we came on air tonight, and he is definitely still doing that. Brandon Ishmael. Oh, mate, I should have picked this one up earlier. He's put Neil leaning closely and say, technical question for Blue Bowen. Are you considering a strategy of wearing these shades during King of the Table 3 in order to conceal the scar on your eye? A lot of people picked up on that the other day, but it won't bother him. I know that's not going to get under his skin at all. He's pretty seasoned to that one, brother. But another man, I think, in your camp there, Rob. SG Records, Rob. When are you going rage mode at tested WAF, hashtag Natty?
When am I going to WAF? Probably, if I was being honest, if I like came into a very large lump sum of money that I was like financially set and just looking to travel the world, and that would have to be coupled with Worlds being at a very cool location like Aruba or something, because going and spending a week in some of the places, it just doesn't tickle my fancy. And you know, to be honest, with all the opportunities of leagues out there, I think going to WAF is a little bit, it was really cool years back. And now with the tear of the leagues where you don't even have all the countries available, they're like blacklisting each other and it's this big political circus, probably not going to happen, to be honest. If it was convenient enough in a cool enough place, maybe, but those stars got to align.
Fair enough. Achilles is a big fan of yours, mate. Thanks for your super chat, Achilles. He's put love you, RBJ, and I got you back.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Southwest Arm Wrestler with a super chat. Question for both. Do specifically program, I think that should be, do you specifically program your training in regards to your opponent, or do you just prepare the best version of yourself? I can answer that for Ryan, I know. You want to go with that one, mate? Do you prepare?
Yeah, I think I just keep it. I don't specifically train. I'll be aware of where I think people are strong and weak. But I think if I can come in properly trained, I pretty much, I would equate myself to being like, I would say John, where my hand and my top game is very strong. And if you're lucky enough and you avoid that surge enough to turn me in a hook, you're surprised to know that I'm very good there too. That I just want to be good everywhere. I'm not like, I know Travis has a lane and he trains the shit out of it to be like good, crisp, perfect. And if he doesn't get it, he'll try to do that again. I like to be able to be comfortable wherever it falls. So no, nothing specific for him. I'll spend more time in the straps, but I think that's the way the sport's going, which is bullshit because you're taking away all the fundamentals. You're handicapping people. What's next?
So Calvin Jones,
Bullshit.
he's put, is this a rom-com where mutual antagonism turns into mutual respect and then a whirlwind romance? If so, it needs to up the pace a bit. Mate, I don't think you're in any danger of these two guys falling in love at any point. Achilles with another super chat. How dare you tell RVJ how to arm wrestle? He's the champion. Another man on your...
Yeah, apparently I don't even understand the game. I really don't get the biomechanics of leaning on my elbow when I've plastered and smoked pretty much everyone who's ever come forward like that on me. And I mean, we could see his epic elbow joint runs when he was going to hold Lachlan in the center of the table. I heard him say he was going to sit here and go like this, suck Lachlan's soul out, and only his mother would be able to pull him out of this depressive retirement state. I saw the elbow conditioning with so many people that I'm not wowed by the resume. So you go open up an arm wrestling school, how to arm wrestle like Ryan Bowen, and then I'll go across town and how to open up the fundamentals of arm wrestling, and we'll see who produces more champions.
Matt Sycamore Limits Larratt, thanks for your super chat, mate. He's put, actually, Ryan, everyone knows Giannis is a freaking legend and an arm wrestling whiz. So heaven forbid Rob was going over stuff with him. Jesus. Hashtag one lane Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, people who think I don't understand the biomechanics are silly. But why go into a lane? This is why the top roll and leverage come to a factor, which is why you just pull through each other. And, you know, when you can play angles and leverages to take away from a person. So when you decide to make that move, it's not as difficult. This is like judo. You think judo that somebody's grabbing another 200-pound guy and he's actually taking him and picking him up and huffing him? No, that was for like guys like Alexander Carolyn. Guys with the judo, they know, they have an understanding of the fulcrums of their body and the leverages and stuff. So when it comes time to flip a person, it's like this. Now, of course, strength is a multiplier of that. But thinking that any time if you go to practice for 2 hours and you pull a couple hundred pulls and you're kind of cranking with guys and pushing guys, if you think you're not getting all that bang up in your tissues and stuff that's there on reserve and it's conditioned there, you're crazy. Come feel anybody who's pulled for 2 decades and see how thick this elbow is in here. It's only because he's got the 44% gain training. You should put that shit in his brain, whatever he's on. Gain that area.
So Joseph has put, Ryan's sunglasses have turned him into the most ruthless insect since the bee that tried to kill Matt Mask. White Wolf, thanks for your super chat, mate. He's put, Neil, we need an intervention here. Please help getting this guy checked to Bellevue Psychiatric Hospital. Ryan can really use our help. One question for you, mate, before I just knock over the last couple of super chats we got here. But do you actually believe? I know he was saying to you there, look, you know, we'll start like this, we'll start supinated in. Do you believe that he would actually hold that position if you gained your hand and wrist? Do you think he'd do that?
I hope so. I hope so. But you know, this is like one of those things, one of those situations that he almost tries to put my man card in check, saying, I'll start here like this. That's guys who are afraid of falling into all the other lanes and they're trying to cut them by going, this is my best option. I've gone there. You were there in Arm Wars when I did it with Steve Green, who was a 242-pound national champion, looking monster.
Really
looking monster. And he goes like, dude, go on a hook with me. And I said, okay. And I turned and I banged and I crushed him. And that's when I was going, oh, I'm the strongest man in the world. You know the clip, you love it. But to think that I won't go there when I'm feeling like, you know, in my rhythm, but why am I going to give away things to a person that's only taking away from me and giving them something? I've done that shit in the past. I've let my ego get in the way. And I look back at my career and I did a lot of stupid things for ego and for shit talk like that. And at the end of the day, you look at guys like Travis who got on his legends, Arsendelia for his run, legend, Engin Terzi. You don't see Engin Terzi get involved in that shit of, oh, start here. Engin goes, yeah, I'll see you at the B-side. Whack. Nice. It's an arm wrestling match. It's a fight. There's a winner and a loser. And as soon as I got my head around the fact that nobody cares how you won or lost, it's win or lose. That's the man card, is W and L. It's not how.
Well, it's interesting because I really rate Ryan as an arm wrestler. I think the lad can really arm wrestle good. And I'd be really surprised if early on in that match, Ryan doesn't think, no, that's a really bad angle. That's a bad approach. Let's say in that first match, he dives on you early doors and can't get through your hand and wrist. If he was then to, but he moved your arm, because you can sometimes allow guys to initiate, and we've seen that before. And if you do allow him to initiate and he moves you a long way over, I would be shocked if he sacrificed his hand and let you into that match, let you gain hand and wrist dominance. I would be shocked. And if he did it once, I'd be very, very, very surprised if he did it again. We will see.
I don't know, man. I think this guy is a crazy person. He
can really pull, though. He can arm wrestle well, and I think after that, I think he'd think.
Of course he can. Everyone looks like a boss when they're the better, stronger arm wrestler. You ever watch someone's highlight reel? Everyone's a boss on the highlight reel, and then you put them against somebody who's better than them, and they look like dog shit.
So Josh Rowe with a super chat. Thanks, mate. He's put, Ryan, have you recovered from moving yet? Rob, please embarrass this dude.
You know what I like? You know what I like? This guy will sit here and bang on like my work ethic and stuff because, you know, hey, I do. I have 5 kids, and you know, like guys like Pradeep want to rag on me about being a hobbyist because I said I'm a hobbyist. But that's exactly what I am, is a hobbyist, because I have 10 other priorities that have to take position over arm wrestling. And by the time I'm done with those, even if I have the time, there might be something else that I just want to do. That, you know, you get tired, you know, your body's just, sometimes you don't want to go in a gym and just grind relentlessly. But if I didn't have to work, or I had a nanny, or any of those other things, my kids didn't have sports, I wanted to just begrudge them of that, then I could do 100% arm wrestling. But, you know, that whole idea of him working for one day and it dominated his life. He's like, I've been moving. He acted like he just, you know, built the fucking pyramids of Giza. You know, dude, you moved. Big deal. And then what else? Come on my construction site when you spend hours just setting up shit. Then you got to go do the job. Then you got to clean it. Then you got to break down and get your ass home. And then you get home and you got to like stop hanging out diapers or shit. Don't be a man for a day and complain about it.
How serious are you taking this, mate? Because we've had a lot of conversations about this in the past. I mean, you know, one more super chat's just come in from Juji Mugu. He's put, wish you had Produce on standby to fill in. So he's obviously
that guy's a riot, man. He's so butthurt because I just said that him and I don't see eye to eye, and I don't really care for him because he tries to press his opinions on me, and I'm not the person for that. And he just made a video about roasting me or something, but you can't roast somebody when you're so far behind them. I can't see that fucking guy with a Hubble telescope. He's light years away from me. You know, who's the hypocrite that's like a creeper, like outside with his binoculars of the sport of arm wrestling, stalking, and then he gets in and does some boring ass news channel in a monotone voice, and then tries to shit on one of the top guys in the sport, knowing that if you did everything in your life, you could never be at my level. Who's the hypocrite?
I do kind of love his news channel, Rob.
Oh yeah, me too. You want me to steal all his viewers? Super easy. Watch this. I'm gonna steal all his viewers.
Channel. I love his news channel.
Oh yeah, me too.
Quality.
Good evening, friends. Watch me be super boring and Cliff knows what we're doing. Boring as fuck. If you want to sleep now, just tune in for 2 more minutes.
So you and Pradeep are getting on well then?
No, he made a roast video of me, but I won't respond to it because I think a lot of these guys like to cause controversies just so they can get views and see the back and forth. I won't give him any time of day because he's got no place ragging on me. He hasn't done dicky lick in the sport. How the fuck are you going to even talk to me?
So let's get into sort of the criticisms that you've had in the past, mate. And I just was keen to get you to address those.
I'm an open book. Yes, let's do it.
The people in the past have said, you know, Rob's always claiming that he's a hobbyist. But to be perfectly honest, we've had that discussion many, many times. Another lad who's similar in that respect would be someone like Herman Stevens, because he's very similar in that respect. Jerry Carteret is another.
Right.
Whereas
these guys, what are they got careers, they got kids, and they recognize that as much as they love arm wrestling, there's things that come first. And some people are selfish, and they're not giving with their time. And of course, yep, I could get up at 4 a.m. and I could be banging at the gym or in my basement or something. I could. But sometimes it just comes down to wants. I look back at the things that I've done and under the circumstances I've done them, and I can sit there and if Ryan smashes me, it doesn't take away what I did for the past 17 years, that I'm okay with where I've been and what I've done. And sometimes to push to that next level, to be that guy, it's almost like body fat, right? They say like if you want to be the guy who's at 15% body fat, you can do very little. And then if you want to go to this level, like a fitness model, like you just gotta like watch what you eat, do your cardio. But then there's that line when you want to get to that next like weirdo leanness. Like you're at the point now where you gotta like count everything you breathe and eat. You can't like even have so much of beer or cheese it. Like the difference to go from here to here is way not worth the sacrifice because nobody gives a shit except you and your Instagram vanity. So for me to be where I am, sometimes to go to that next spot, if I think about what it may take, it kind of turns me off because I'm happy with where I am. And I am a hobbyist because I don't make a living doing this. If I made a living doing this, I'd be a whole different dude. If I had the opportunity of doing this, I could be the best guy in the world for the next 10 years in my class and be a very big threat at the super heavyweights. But I don't.
Situation now going forward, because obviously you've got various ways that you've made a living in the past. Most recently, you were having to, well, a lot of your work was seasonal. Are you going back into that now, or have you got a period of time from now till March where you are able to focus an amount of time in there, or do you not?
Yeah. I'm gonna focus. I'm actually going to a training tonight. Wednesday night's my training night. We do we go to the train to pull, and then we hit Mexican food right afterwards, and it's a great time. We look forward to it. We use it as a date night, and then from there, I'm gonna just try to condition, hit the gym, and get more specified. It's something that's necessary. I'd feel good about myself. It's not necessarily a laser beam focus on Ryan. It's really this match is an excuse to get back to a place I want to be and put a better foot forward to just have that shot at proving that I can be where I know I can be. And this is just a platform and an excuse to get there.
Has the weight been set formally yet, mate?
Not that I've heard of. I mean, I've seen Ryan be like almost up in the 230s. So I figure we're just going to roll up and, be fit. Because I think weight's kind of a silly thing when you give people like a day, 2 day weigh-ins. You get some guys that'll come in and lose like 35 pounds. So to me, the only way weight works is if you do it like the morning of the event or like an hour before the event. After that, you get guys that will hydrate. I see, if I had $1 for every guy I saw at WAL that was a true 195er in the 165 class, I'd have a lot of money.
Where would, if you had your absolute choice, what's your optimum? Where would you want to come in at?
I don't particularly care as long as it's not too much, bloating gas, which I know is always a factor. If he wants to be 220, 225, 230, we're just built different. I used to never care about weight. I pulled guys like Dave Chafee in super matches when he was 60 pounds heavier than me because I figured that I was structurally built as big as those guys. I was muscularly in the right areas as big as those guys. So, okay, yeah, they got a little more in the waist and the ass and the back, and now they're 280. But, I never really worried about the weight. And I don't think Brian's going to be the guy to rock my line of thinking.
Where you sat right now, Rob, post-Christmas?
Probably about 220.
Okay.
But I'll recomp that. So if I start working out and actually cleaning up the diet a little bit, my body hyper responds. If I just start working out 3 days a week and going to practice 4 days a week, I'll maybe stay at that 220, but it'll look very different. Mm-hmm. My body responds really, really good to exercise and not keeping it in a trap of eating shitty food and drinking every day.
So we got another super chat just come in. I know I'm going to let you jump off in a minute because I know you got to go to training. Carolyn Luke come in with a super chat. Rob, will you please get to know your body and connective tissues better than Bowen?
Yeah, man, I'm going to try to do some research on this one. I mean, requesting people to just pull in specific lanes that just put pressure on their joints is just silly. I mean, oh my God, it is. You see guys that like never have to rely on those lanes. Doesn't mean they don't have good elbows, but they've gone their whole career and never had to rely on their lanes. I mean, shit, I don't even think John Brzenk ever really just sits there and just pushes on his elbow. Mm-hmm. He's pressed people. John's got a good press. He's got a shoulder roll. He doesn't sit there, and if he goes to put a little pressure on his elbow and he doesn't like feel it move, he'll tuck back here and do like his forearm and his arm and kind of sit like this. And we're talking about one of the most technically perfect arm wrestlers of all times who understands all the moves. That's not to say, John, you got a weak elbow. If you got to sit there and push your way through, like this, and you're talking about goats that have never done it or don't really do it.
No.
We see guys that are extreme joint pullers like Algat, right? That guy's extreme where he comes in fast, hard, and down. He just took like fourth in worlds, didn't he? I was shocked. Who won the worlds in that class? Was it Alan?
As well, mate.
Huh?
In a different weight class as well.
Yeah, but still, when you say like joint puller versus muscular puller, like a guy like Zoloev is a muscle puller. He's not a joint puller. That's not to say that he can't pull on his joints. You know what I mean? Yeah. Rustum's a muscle puller.
And we're about to see one of the most effective joint heavy arm wrestlers in the world take on Ryan's countryman. And I wanted to just ask you about that. Firstly, what's your opinion of that match? How do you see it? I mean, Lachlan's an impressive individual, isn't he? Real athlete, super powerful lad. Takes mega serious, doesn't mouth off, never goes out there really. We got him on actually tomorrow. For anybody in the chat that's watching, we got Toddzilla and Lachlan Adair tomorrow night. We're starting 30 minutes later than we did tonight.
What I think about that match and where it's a problem is I agree with all things you said about Lachlan. Unfortunately, Lachlan is landlocked, and he can only really gauge himself. His only reality of what he knows is creeping around in Australia. He's pulled some guys at Zloty, sure, and I'm sure he is of that very high level, but he's not going to get constant exposure to elite guys, so he can't really gauge where he is. It's kind of a mystery, whereas Todd is regularly banging with some of the very best in the world, and he kind of can really gauge where he is on a world level. And I don't think that Lachlan is used to being matched in strength, and then if it comes down to a match and a thing, he's going to then have to match the endurance. Mm-hmm. And for a guy like Todd, these all play heavy in his favor. I think Lachlan could shock people, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle with where he comes from. Now, this is where I get off with guys like Pradeep. They'll say, oh, no, you're making excuses. There's just wins and losses. No, I can recognize that there's a gray there, that maybe if Lachlan was close and you put him around a better training camp, which is why guys who do UFC will go find the best ground guys in the world. They'll fly somewhere else. They don't just say like, oh, well, I'll just wrestle my boys here. No. Sometimes different camps and different results, and you can recognize if someone's a little green. So I think it'll be an interesting match to see where he is, but I think Todd's going to come in very prepared.
Was there any truth in the comment that Ryan made that if there was a sweep by Lachlan, an impressive sweep, would that concern you at all? Would it bother you at all? Would you feel any more nerves around the match with Ryan? Or would it?
No, because it's two
opinions of it at all. It's
two totally different wheelhouses. It's two different styles. Sometimes somebody just has an angle that really fucks you up.
Yep.
Like I look back at when Todd first pulled Zoloev. Zoloev was bouncing off him and could not move him out of that hook. And Zoloev is one of the all-time greatest hookers ever. But when Zoloev would pull Rustum, he would freeze him up and even sometimes beat him. But then Rustum would run through Todd. Run through him. So sometimes somebody just has an angle or a spot, or they're a little bit stronger in the right way, or a little bit better at initiating, that you could try to put two and two together. And it's just like the fight game. Sometimes little things make a big difference. And I think he's looking a little too deep into it. I think it would probably look better for Ryan if Lachlan dominated. But I think it'd be great if Lachlan gets the win. I don't see a domination. I don't.
Do you think it's going to be a real battle?
We'll have to see what Lachlan does with his hand and stuff.
That interests me in some ways because very, very few people are going to beat Toddzilla in a war because his endurance is immense.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to come down to him getting the right positions and working it. If it's a slow match, I think it's going to be problematic. And like I said, that's how Todd trains. Todd's got almost, probably 2.5 decades or more in the sport. And he recognized what makes Todd Todd. And he's just made himself better, and he every day pursues being better than yesterday. He's one of those guys that lives the professional athlete life without being a professional athlete. You know what I mean? He wakes up and he trains. He's relentless.
How good do you think he can be? Let's say, for example, he comes in and he's studied Todd and he's diligent in that respect. And as Ryan said many times, he feels like Lachlan is designed to beat Todd. Do you think that Lachlan can then go on and be a massive threat to other people? Do you think that he's got enormous potential? Because he's not the biggest lad out there, is he?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that he's designed to beat Todd. I think that's where Ryan, overestimates his insight and his intellect, because he trains with a guy that he looked up to like a god. So, for a period of time, Ryan thought that Lachlan was going to beat the whole world. And the poor guy hasn't even got off of Australia yet. Like, let the guy breathe and not have all these pressures on him. I would say anyone that beats Todd does have a valid argument that they're on that world level. How big a threat to different makes and models, but beating a world-class guy does make you world-class. It's even if it's a one-hit wonder. If a 176-pound guy comes out of nowhere and beats Vlad the Destroyer either hand, he's got an argument that no one's going to say he's not world-class. He might not beat the other 10 guys in the field, but you beat one world-level puller, in my opinion, you're world-class. You don't have to be world number one, but you're world-class.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Todd is...
Even if he gets one hit in there, it's enough to go like, let's not forget, we saw Matt Mask pull Todd Hutchins. And Matt is a world-level puller. He didn't even get a pin. If you can get one pin in there, job well done. Anything more than that is you're just breaking it in, man.
I think that's what a lot of people are going to be struggling with initially. And the same could be said for yourself and your match with Ryan. But even the sort of hardcore fans of Lachlan initially are going to see him as a massive underdog. No disrespect to Lachlan at all. But just because the body of work from Toddzilla is so massive and so consistent, it's very, very hard for you to get your head around a new guy coming and cracking him, because there's a diverse body of work from Todd, isn't there? We've seen him beat the guys that are super strong. We've seen him beat so many guys super fast. You got Matt, you got Marcio, Marcio is so underrated and so lethal, and yet Todd's put him to the sword. You know what I mean? He's put a younger version of. I've seen him beat guys like Dave Randall. I've seen him beat Ron Bath. So many super strong lads. He's beat guys like Sergei Tokarev.
Oh yeah.
Farid Osmanli, just amazing arm wrestlers throughout his entire career. So it's very hard to see Lachlan coming in there and bouncing him. It's just difficult. Whilst Lachlan's very impressive, in my opinion. He's mega strong, a real...
It's very different circumstance than me and Ryan. I agree with everything you're saying. And we just have to keep in mind that every single person that's walked in this sport was a nobody until their moment came to make them a somebody. We were all known names. We say, I'm going to pull this fucking no name. Well, that no name might be the next John Brzenk or Devon or something. He just hasn't gotten out there and done it yet. But you could be witnessing it unfold. The difference with that match is a guy in Todd who's always in peak form, and a guy like Lachlan who's kind of quiet and not really an antagonist, and he's kind of chill. And I think him and Todd might have had some words. I'm not sure. But it doesn't have the hype around it that me and Ryan did. I mean, talking Ryan's in this match because 2 years, all he did was try to strip my game apart. Even still, before he got off the phone, he's trying to strip my game of I don't understand the sport and all this shit. And, he got here by very different means. It's a very different match. But yeah, I agree. I agree with most of what you said, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, a couple of super chats. One that I missed earlier on. Sorry about that. Randy Robbins, but Rob isn't going to have anything given to him by Ryan. Rob is going to take his hand, wrist, and soul. Real Rob, as usual. You're the mother fluffing man. So another fan of yours there, Randy Robbins.
Thanks, buddy.
In that, Randy.
Appreciate it.
Another interesting super chat just come in from Ryan Blue Bowen, and it says, "See you in the strap, you big baby." So yeah, it's still going, even in the chat. Now then, guys, we're going to jump off here in just a moment. Remember, we do have, I've got a couple more super chats to knock over, and then we're going to let this man get over to training. Juji Mugu, he's just put, Neil, you failed. You didn't get a double flip off from Bowen. You never know. I might get one off him soon. You might put one in the chat. And White Wolf, Rob, how do I order a double XL Unipig t-shirt?
Oh man, I gotta get the graphics right. Back in the day, I used to be a hell of a drawer. Now, not so much. You kind of lose
I
your
think one of the
mojo.
guys that tunes into your channel could probably do that. Some amazing art.
Yeah, I want someone. I was a good graphic artist, but I don't have that shit anymore. Not on that level. I want to get a pig with a bottle rocket, with a big giant red rocket, and I want to be holding it at hip level, leaning back, squealing, unicorn status, doing it. When I get them, I'll put them out there because the pigs become kind of a thing, and the red rocket is always very real.
Absolute quality. Ladies and gents in the chat, we're going to leave it there, but a couple of wrap-ups for you. Remember, as I said earlier, please get yourself over and support the King of the Table events, support Core Sports, putting on some amazing stuff. I've been putting the links where you can order in the descriptions tonight, in the chat all night, and it's going to be in the description of this when we finish it up. If you're not already subscribed to RVJ, if you're not already subscribed to Ryan Blue Bowen, please get over there, give these guys a sub, help them out with the channels, and show them the love there. We've got another super chat, and hang on to him, and another one's coming. He's put, let's have a look. Still want a super match, and this is from Soft Wash Science. Still want a super match with Pradeep, Rob. I'm slapping his fupa when I win. Better recognize.
Yeah. He could put all his rupees in and fucking right off into the sunset.
Oh, you've been winding up Pradeep, mate. If he's got, I need to go over and check that out. But yeah,
no, I didn't wind anything up. He just takes things hyper serious because I tried to talk to him with a level of respect on the sly, and he basically just said that I was like the dumbest person in the sport, and him and Ryan have a lot of the same dialect. So I'm just like, yeah, we don't see eye to eye. And there's things about me he doesn't like, and things I don't like about him, and that's okay. We're very different people from very different cultures. I mean, some cultures don't eat meat on Fridays or Mondays, and I get prime rib and wrap it with bacon. That's just me. I'm different from a different world than those guys. Well, they don't have to understand me.
It'd be a boring place if we're all the same, mate. It would be a boring place.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, just to give you a couple of updates for everybody who's still with us. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out and checking out the show.
I do want to make a public service announcement, though.
Go for it, brother.
For all you guys out there watching, in sincerity, if you find yourself making special requests, like start with me in a hook and don't roll out, and please start with me in the straps to compensate, you need to check your man card. Brian, this is for you. I know you're going to get the straps and you can have it, but understand it is a crutch and it is a handicap. Guys, just don't do that. Be good enough. Be strong enough. As soon as you got to start requesting things to help you out, you're the one that's inadequate. Just don't do that shit. It's like getting on a riser. Just don't.
Ladies and gents, if you like what you see, get over Rob Vigeant Jr. Arm Wrestling, RVJ Arm Wrestling. Get over there, like, subscribe, share, give this guy some love. You know everybody wants to watch it. This is the match that's coming up. It's got massive hype behind it, and it's only going to get better. We've got all the time in the world to get this thing built up. I want to say thanks to everybody for
beef up
tuning
that
in.
elbow.
There it is. Right there. It's all about that elbow integrity.
Yeah, I'm going to beef this thing up. Put 2 inches on it in 2 months.
So tomorrow night, guys, remember, we will have Toddzilla, Todd Hutchins, and Lachlan Adair head-to-head. Same as you saw tonight from these two lads, they're going to be with us tomorrow. We'll be starting half an hour later than we did today. Also, remember, Friday, New Year's Eve, the next Arm Wars will be launched. The next Arm Wars film launches on New Year's Eve. If you're not already subscribed to the Arm Wars channel, the new Arm Wars channel, please get over there. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Show us your appreciation. That is where all the effort's gone. A lot of stuff coming out. You'll get to see this guy on there also very, very soon. We're going to leave it there, but for now, thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time. And I hope you have a lovely new year. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9:30 GMT. Rob, thanks for your time, mate. Much appreciated it.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
See you next, guys. Biggity bong. Lovely darts.